Hello everyone. Welcome to Paper Happinessity with Monica. Sorry, I'm just getting my chair all organised, making sure I actually sit on the seat and don't miss it and end up on the floor. Welcome to my channel. Colour Inspiration Challenge number 174 has gone live over on Facebook, and this is what I will be creating today, a project. So for colour inspiration, we've got these beautiful, soft, gorgeous grape can be a little bit on the more stronger colour, but it's just such a lovely, sweet, romantic combination that we have for this challenge. Our photo was chosen by Vicky, and our guest designer for this challenge is the lovely Heidi. I'm not going to even attempt to pronounce her surname, but yeah, she's a lovely creator, and I can't wait to go and see what everyone has created for this challenge. Please feel free, if you're inspired by my project, please feel free to go and check out everyone's projects. We are a group on Facebook. You will need to answer some security questions just to make sure that you are who you say you are. And you don't need a blog, but if you have social media of any sort, you are welcome to create a project and link to your social media. Sorry, I just bumped my desk and everything just wobbled. Okay, so I have my ink pads out, and I thought I would do a little bit of stamping for this challenge. See, we've got these 4 gorgeous colours, and I'm also bringing in Smoky Slate. Don't look at the my labels, because they are a little bit damaged with the UV light, or they're not in direct sunlight, my pads. I refuse to do that, but I keep them nice and safe. But yeah, the labels do fade over time. So but it doesn't affect the ink on the inside. They still colour true. They still stamp true to the colour, I should say. Okay, so Smoky Slate. I pulled this one out to do a little bit of background stamping. We've got Pool Party, Gorgeous Grape, Highland Heather, and Bubble Bath. Now, one of these colours, when you're restricted in your colours that you're able to stamp with, you tend to, I like to choose one that, well, this is my background, and it's not part of the color palette, but we are allowed to use our neutrals. Pool Party, I think, would be a great leaf color, so that's what I'm going to use for my leaves. And then these 3 I will use for my flowers and foliage. I think I will go to a mid-tone for my flowers, and probably the lighter one for my flowers, and then the dark one I think I might use for a second lot of foliage, believe it or not. So we shall see. I do have a plan in my head, but we'll see. Stamp sets, you are beautiful. I want to use this one for my background. You will not actually see that too much happening there. It's just a little bit of colour there, so, and it gives me a bit of a plan to work with. Textured Floral, which is my favourite stamp set for this kind of technique. I want to use the large flower, and I will get this leaf image, and I also want to get this one here. I'm actually going to be using that as flowers, and this dottage stamp. Now, this isn't my favorite dottage stamp, but because I want to try and keep my stamp sets to a minimum, that's what I'm using. So I've used the large flower, this leaf, and this one here. I'm going to use that as flowers. I'm not using the stem, just this here, and the splatter image. And then for Regal Flora, what I want to use is the trio here and this lovely fluffy foliage stamp. And what I'm going to do is, because I don't want to stamp that stem, I'm actually going to put it on my block without that, with the stem hanging off. That might remind me not to ink it up. And this trio of flowers. Do I have another? Is this going to fit on here? I might just swap. I don't know. Swap. No, I need another block. Hang on a minute, guys. I'll just get a larger block, just so I know that I've got full coverage there. Okay, so it's the trio, and then this guy here I've taken out of that stamp set. I have got a sheet of basic white cardstock. Because I'm using photopolymer stamps and they don't have a cushion, I'm just going to grab my my mats, my foam mats, and I cover mine just to protect them. I don't need that to start with, just to protect them from the ink. And I've also got a piece of scrap paper. It's just an old piece of grid paper that I've used on one side, and I'm going to use that to stamp off, because that will then allow me to create a fifth or sixth color. Okay, right. Now, stamping. This is a Stamp One Sheet Wonder, and it's inspired by the wonderful Ruth Trice over at Artful Stamping. She does the most amazing stamping with this technique. So that's what we're going to do today. So basically, I'm going to create a cross formation, and that way we can make 4 card fronts with our stamping. We'll cut that up into 4, and I'm basically going to like eyeball it. You can use your grid paper. If you're using grid paper, you can use your grid paper to try and center it. I'm not going to worry too much, and I'm going to go first and second. I'm going to ink up again. All right, we're going to go first and second. Didn't quite stamp that right, but that's fine. Ink up. 1, 2. We're going to pull it out so that we've got a cross. You won't really see that third, but that's okay. Ink up again. And we'll go 1. Oops. It doesn't really matter because this is just going to be in the background. All right. And it just gives me a bit of a guide as to where I'm going to go next. All right. So that's my Smoky Slate, and that's my foundation color. Now I'm going to go in with my Highland Heather, which is a medium tone out of the colors that I've got, and I'm going to use my large flower, and I'm going to stamp 4 of these, and I should have my mats underneath because it will. I like using my mats with my photopolymer stamps. One, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, don't worry about that space in the center. We will deal with that as we go along. All right, so that was Highland Heather. The next thing I'd like to do is my larger leaves. So I will find my Pool Party. And we're going to go first and second generation for this. So we'll go, oh, I might go over this grey a little bit. So 1, and we're going to move it along and get that second one happening. And again here, move it along. One, 2, and then I want to start filling in a little bit in here as well with a little bit of colour. Oh, so I've got ink on my block and I've just put a line through it, but that's all right. We'll fix that later. That won't be a problem. All right, so we're going to just and I might just do another one and stamp that off just in here just to fill in. Oh, what I wanted to do and I didn't do was pivot those Highland Heather flowers. All right, because I'm not quite I don't quite like those white spaces in there, but I might just get my blending brush and just fill that in. And I'll do that right now so I don't forget. All right, so a little bit of ink. Just colour in that space that's there. All right, just a little bit more on this one, I think. All right, so that Pool Party is starting to calm down now, thank goodness. All right, so next, I actually want to use the Highland Heather, and I'm going to use second generation stamping here. And I'm going to use the 3 little trio flowers here from Regal Flora. And we're going to stamp off and we're going to add these in. And we're going to pull the design out so it's more of a cross. Stamp off. All right, everyone, remind me to stamp off, please. Oh, I should take my my blocks out, my pads, my foam mats out. All right, stamp off. I'm going to go fill in that middle section. Stamp off. Where did I go here? Right, don't worry about going off the edge of your page. That's part of the design feature. All right, we're gonna go up here, and I think I need to go in here as well, just to get some. We are adding a little bit more happening, so all right, so there we go. It's all starting to come together now, our little design. Kind of, oh, I might just add a little bit of colour. I'm not re-inking, I'm just using the color that's already on my stamp and just adding a little bit of color that's in there. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is grab my bubble buff, and I'm going to use this one here from Textured Floral. And again, so the aim is that when you cut it up, there's a little bit of each color on each section. Where am I going? I don't really know where I'm going here, but you know, we'll get there in the end. It's all part of the fun. Okay. And this is just to add a little bit more color into the middle here. Okay. All right, so the next thing I'd like to do is my last lot of foliage, which is this guy out of the Regal Flora stamp set. And I'm only inking up, I'm not getting the stem, so I'm only inking up from the stem up, and I'll do that. I don't know whether you can see. So all I'm doing is putting that stamp from the leaves up. Okay, and now we're going to add a little bit of foliage, and what I'm doing is I'm stamping, I'm pivoting from the bottom, stamping again, and I'm going a third time. All right, so we're inking up from, and not the stamp so much. We're going to stamp, we're going to pivot from that bottom. Okay, and it's basically repeating. I'll only go twice there, and we're adding a little bit of, making sure that's not inked up, because the last thing you want is a stem in there. We can fix that little boo-boo, but it's better off not being there in the first place. Take your time, go slowly, don't rush. And just remember that, see, I've got to ink that stem up. And just remember, it's only ink and cardstock. Okay, so if you don't like it, you can turn it over and try again on the other side. And the other thing is that it's often, it's one of those techniques that it will often look a lot better once you cut it up into card fronts. It's amazing what a difference it makes. And I might just go another one. And I'm going to put a few in the middle here because I can. Might go this way. Okay. All right. The very last thing on our list is our dottage, as we say at Artful Stampin'. If you ever watch lives, watch Ruth's lives on YouTube, we will always leave this step to the last. And I tend to use, when you look at your stamping, I tend to use the darkest one because your eyes are pretty much drawn to those colors first, and that just pulls the color through the whole stamping, unless it's red, of course. If red was your darkest color, I would probably not use that so much because it can look a bit weird, if you get my drift. So I'm going to use Gorgeous Grape, and I think I might also use a little bit of the Pool Party because there's a lot of that happening. And what I'm going to do, the dottage is all about breaking up those solid lines a little bit and adding, covering up any boo-boos. So you go in and you think, well, did I stamp here with a stem? So I'm going to actually cover that up a little bit. Like there's another one here with a stem, and I'm going to twist. Filling in any gaps, any white spaces you've got. And this is a great stamp actually, because if you move and twist it as you're stamping, it actually looks like pretty little flowers, especially that second and third generation. Okay, that might do. I can go in later and add more if I like. And that's the other thing. Once you cut it up and you think, oh, you know, like I'd like to add maybe a couple of little butterflies or something, do it when you've finished stamping and have cut it up and put it on your card front, or just before you're going to put it on your card front, and that way you know exactly where you want to stamp it or where it needs to go. Right, so a little bit of Pool Party now, we're just going to pull that color through. And spread it out a little bit so we can just balance it out a little bit. Don't be afraid of going over what you've already stamped. Okay, and I think that might be maybe a little bit in here. There's a bit of a gap in there that I'll fill. I think that's pretty much it. All right, so that's pretty much it. That's all my stamping, that's all my dottage. What I will do though is I'll keep out my Gorgeous Grape, because I think what I might do is once I cut it up, I got stuff here everywhere, guys. I'm not joking. All right, let me make some room here. I need to pull in my paper trimmer. And what I'm going to do is now cut this into 4, because that was my plan. The lovely Ruth does have templates that you can download for a small donation. Okay, so I've gone in at 10.5 and I'm going to trim that. And for now, I'm going to go in at not quite at 15, which is half our length. Okay, so we've got, see if I can put these to get back together. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I'm just going to grab, and I think what I might do is add a little bit of ink blending into the corner just to darken up those corners a little bit. So let me do that. I'll just bring in my scrap paper here just to darken up. Add a little bit of atmosphere maybe. Okay, so there's one. Not too much, you don't need too much, but if you wanted to go darker, you can certainly go a little bit darker. There we go. And all that's left now is I'll trim it down a bit because it's not quite the size that I use for my card fronts, but work out. I'll get my paper trimmer again and just trim off. I think I'll have a teeny tiny border, not a huge one. And I'm not even going to put this on a mat underneath. So I'm going to have just a, I've cut this 1/8 of an inch less on two sides. Oh, well, yeah, they're my usual card front size. So my normal card front is 4 1/8 by 5 1/2, 5 3/4 rather. And I'm trimming off from the top, and then from this side where there's not that much damping, but you could trim off this other side if that's your preference. Last one. And then we decide on card bases. Now I'm thinking white because that's going to really make those colours pop a bit, but let me see, let me put that out the road. I've got some in each colour here. We've got Pool Party, we have Bubble Bath, Gorgeous Grape, Highland Heather, and white. We can actually audition. Let me just get my bone folder and burnish that one. Okay, so Gorgeous Grape, which I don't mind because it defines those edges a little bit more. Bubble Bath might be a bit light. Pool Party. it pulls out the pool party in your stamping. Again, not really my favorite. Highland Heather, which isn't too bad. Let me pull this one off the Gorgeous Grape. No, actually, no, not that one. Bubble Bath isn't really my favorite. So let me take that and put that on the white. So it's really all a matter of preference, really. It depends what you want to do. If you want to add a border, you could probably trim that down further if you wanted to, and mat it onto your different layers. Like you could, I'm just thinking that if you were to mat it, I'll go this way and then pull the white in. I don't know. It's really your choice. I don't mind the Gorgeous Grape, but I think Highland Heather would be would be my pick, maybe. Although, yeah, it's a little bit more softer, or the white. That's my choice. All right. So I'm going to actually. Have I got another Highland Heather card base here somewhere? Or this one. All right, so I'm going to put these two onto Highland Heather, and I might do a, where's my glue? Where's my glue? All right, so we just adding a little bit of glue and just putting that down. There we go. Now, I'm not going to put a sentiment on there for now, but what I would do is get a little bit of ribbon, a punch, stamp your sentiment, punch it out. You could, if you wanted, just add a little bit of definition to those edges. Just literally roll your label across the top of your stamp pad. Be careful, don't go too heavy because you might just damage everything. So, and then I would just literally, you know, add a little bit of ribbon and a little bit of a sentiment, and you have your card. Okay, but I'll leave mine blank for now so that I know I'll add them as I need them. I'll just add this to the white one. I've got a couple of friends that absolutely love purple. I'm just making sure that find where my fold is so I can get this the right way. All right, so that's the white. That's the Highland Heather. I will put this onto each of these. Yes, so this is probably the best design to make for if you wanted to make just 4 cards. If you wanted to, like, there are other ways of stamping. You could go across your page and then create, you know, up to 10 cards. Oh, 10. Yeah, up to 10 cards. 5 top, 5 bottom. Okay. 4 colorways. You can let me know which you prefer if you like in the comments. That would be awesome. All right, I think I'm done, guys. Kind of feel like this one needs a little bit more dottage there out on the outsides there. There's a lot going on. That will eventually settle down. Okay, and maybe a little bit more blue too. Pool party of the teal. There we go. And that will fade. You can see already how the stamping that I did before has faded right down. So this will fade as well eventually. Give it a bit of time. All right, guys, that's it from me. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed that. And if you think you might like to see future videos that I put out, please like and subscribe. That would be awesome. And if you have friends that you think that might like watching what I've just created and demonstrated, please share. A comment in the comments below is a great way to support me if you're not local to me. And I'll have a full list of the products that I have used, and also link to my blog post if you're interested in going over to my blog. So, all right, you have a great week wherever you are, and I will see you again next time. Bye for now.